So when it comes to movies that I was really looking forward to from the year of 2025, I had a lot of anticipation for Osgood Perkins' new movie called The Monkey, and it was going to be a February release. And I was like, okay, you know what? In Osgood Perkins, I trust, especially after last year, where Longlegs was one of my absolute favorite films to come out of the year. I was really looking forward to what he's going to bring to the Monkey, especially after it was announced like pretty much right after Longlegs was released. I was really looking forward to it, and I gotta say, I don't know if I've ever left the theater more conflicted about a movie, because the Monkey is a really tough movie to talk about, and I want to get into why I think it is so difficult to discuss. Hi everyone, I'm Mike, and sorry for the long intro, but yeah, welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to be talking about one of my personal most anticipated films of the year, which is Osgood Perkins' The Monkey. So this is a movie that basically follows a sort of Final Destination esque premise where this toy monkey is found where every time you turn the key, it basically kills someone at random. And so these kids come across it because it was like owned by their dad, and they come across it and they wind up the monkey. Shit goes down, and so on and so forth. They bury it in, or they drop it down a well, and then years later, people are starting to die off one more time, like again, and the mystery ensues where they're trying to, like, one of them at least is trying to figure out what's going on with the deaths, and it could be related to this monkey. So going into it, I was really looking forward to it. I went to go see it with a friend of mine. We were both really looking forward to it because it just looked like a bloody good time. Didn't really want to go in knowing too much about the premise because, it's better to go into horror movies most of the times blind. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, I actually really enjoyed the movie. So let's get into what I liked and loved about the movie. So right off the bat, this is definitely more of a horror comedy, especially because of, I mean, Osgood Perkins. He has a very dark sense of humor, and it's very evident, that this movie has a dark sense of humor, especially because this movie has a lot of gore, and with a lot of gore, there's a lot of laughs, at least for me, with a sick sense of humor. There's, body parts flying everywhere, gore, blood, guts, like just flying everywhere on the screen. There's even a bit in it where some dude gets trampled by like a stampede of horses in a sleeping bag, and he just turns into like human mashed potatoes. It was disgusting. But yeah, like that's what I loved about this movie is like every time there was someone who ends up getting killed by this monkey, it ends up being a brutal disaster. And that was really fun to watch. And then moving on to, the performances, I had a really good time with Theo James as the lead brother. His name's Hal, and, one of the brothers, so he plays twin brothers, so it's Hal and Bill. Hal is the more prominent character, and I think what he brought to the character of Hal worked really well. And then also he has, a deep relationship with his son that he's kind of estranged to. Basically, um, they're together, and they're experiencing like all the mysterious deaths going on at the same time, and it's really cool, like really fun seeing them like go back and forth bantering and whatnot. That was really fun. And I also just really enjoyed like the kid side of the story where when the brothers are kids, and when they find the monkey and whatnot, that was just a lot of fun. And it felt a lot like classic like Stephen King stories, which this is also based on a Stephen King story, which I really enjoyed. Now I want to get into what I was very frustrated by. So um, for this one, I don't want to go into too much like spoiler-ish detail because I mean, this is a new movie, and I want you guys to experience this movie for yourselves. But this movie left me very, very frustrated by the end of it because you get to a certain point and it feels like there was a huge quality drop, like the flick of a switch almost, where I really, really enjoyed the first two acts of the film. Where, the first act is more like the child centric thing when the twin brothers are kids, and then the middle act is introducing, like they're like after they introduce like the adult side of things, and the father, like, Hal and his son are like on a road trip almost, and that was fun. Really, really enjoyed that, and then all the mysterious deaths going on. Of course, that was really, really fun. And then you get to a point where there's a character that is like reintroduced, and I didn't think it worked at all. Where so it's the twin brother, Bill. So I don't want to get into what's exactly going on between there, but basically Bill comes back into the play about like 45 minutes to an hour into the movie, and the way Theo James played the character, I didn't think worked nearly as well as it did for the character of Hal. The way that he performs Bill is like very, very off, and like it's kind of supposed to be that way, but at the same time, like he seems like a bit of a nut job compared to when the character was like a little kid, and he was more like a cocky douchebag, and he's like trying to be a cocky douchebag, but at the same time he's like a psychopath, and it's like, what the hell is exactly going on here? I wasn't really vibing with that. But the main thing that really, really bugged me is the last 10-15 minutes of the movie, where basically they are coming across where the monkey is, and Hal is trying to retrieve the monkey, and there's a bit of it where something happens with the monkey, and the very end of it leaves a lot up to interpretation. What the hell's going on? Some people have theorized a lot of different things, and one that I've heard is very prominent is that there's like something to do with like the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and I don't know what to think of it. I'm gonna be honest. I there's also a lot of things in like the third act that just really bugged me on one note where like the CGI for some of the movie didn't look great. But there is one kill that happens in like the last 15 minutes that I really noticed the CGI. And basically, it has something to do with bugs flying into someone's mouth. And it looks like there's some sort of like black hole coming out of this dude's mouth. And it's like, what the hell is even going on at this point? It looks like shit. And so like from that point on, I was just like really out of the movie for some reason. And then there's lines of dialogue, like, sprinkled throughout where there's like a bit of it where one guy says, let's go dancing. And then someone else, like the guy he's talking to, is like, what, with our bodies? I was like, no, really? That was a terrible line. And I don't know. It was like stuff like that was just like really, really dumb. And also there's like the final character death is really off-putting, where basically they're trying to get him to like, it's like the villain of the story, and they're trying to get him to be on their side of the story, and then he ends up getting killed. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, and they reuse a joke there as well, like twice, that they set up, and it's just like, okay, why did you reuse that? That was annoying. But yeah, I don't know. There was just a lot about the third act of this movie that I really didn't like, where I was really loving it up until the last 15-ish minutes, where it just kind of falls apart. And that's what really frustrated me about this movie because I love Osgood Perkins' style, especially with Long Legs, where it has that really creepy nature to it, but he also has that sick sense of humor. Like when, Nicolas Cage is like, freaking out and singing a song, like that is creepy as hell, but also it is funny as hell. And I think that would have really, really helped if this was more of an original project and didn't have like that set ending from the story. Maybe that could have worked a little bit better if he had like changed up the ending, but I I don't know if that's like exactly what even happens in the book at all. But yeah, this is a frustrating watch for me, and I want to see how it works for me on a rewatch at some point. I'm not planning on seeing it in the theaters again, at least, but yeah, I want to give it a second shot, mainly probably when it comes out on VOD and physical media. So, you know, in terms of final thoughts, I want like to sum it up. Basically, I loved it until I didn't. There like 80 like 75 to 80% of the movie I absolutely was loving it. I found it to be an awesome film. And then just like that, it just goes from loving it to what the hell are we doing? So, I think a final score I'd probably go like a 3.5 out of 5, where this is very much a film that I was really, really enjoying up until the very ending, and it just kind of soured me a little bit on the movie. Where, a 7 out of 10, 3.5 out of 5, that's a good score, for me at least, because I enjoyed the film for the most part. It's just, I really didn't like the reveals, I didn't like the ending, and yeah, there's just a lot that didn't end up working by the end of it, and that really disappointed me, honestly. So, anyways, guys, let me know if you saw the monkey. What were your thoughts down below in the comments section? And I'm curious to know what you guys ended up thinking in general. But yeah, if you guys like this kind of video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe before you're out of here, if you're new here at least. And I will catch you guys on the flip side.